Hello everyone, welcome to episode 10 of Media Crash. Today we're going to be talking about the Western genre, and as you can tell, we are not dealing with Zoom anymore. We are in the studio, we are in Texas, so the state has opened up as a couple weeks ago, so we're as safely as we can filming in the studio because we think it is a lot more professional, and a lot of us see each other anyways on a regular basis, just due to other things. So we figured, why not go back to the studio? So without further ado, my name is Holden, otherwise known as Time to Grind.
My name is Daniel, otherwise known as Not Daniel.
My name is Matthew. You already know my username. No, it's Satir.
Satir.
You already know who it is.
Technically it's Sutter, but I just
you
say
keep saying it Satir, but
because
then...
people keep
Matthew,
calling it Satir.
Your IRL shitposting doesn't work when people don't know who you are to begin with.
That's fair.
But yeah, so we're talking about the Western genre. There's a lot of stuff in this genre. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is just Red Dead Redemption. That's a fun game. I remember I have a specific memory of me and Matthew used to play like Red Dead Redemption 1, and I would always bring my Xbox over to your house. And we would just play, we were playing
online.
multiplayer, online, and we would just go to a town, just kill as many innocent people as possible, and just play defending the town against the police.
What you do is there's like this fort in the Mexico region where it has legit like cannons and Gatling guns in it. So you would just go to that place, and just fucking. I think I would call it the Alamo, but like it was in Mexico, so we would just invade we invaded the Mexican army's like land and just
Hey, is there anything more Texan than going to a Mexican fort, taking it over, and just saying it's yours?
Yeah, that's a good point.
God bless.
Are we doing 18th century politics right now?
Yeah, that's actually the genre. We completely switched it up.
I guess that's what like 90% of like deep Western things are, is just like
the politics of the time.
Yeah, like
which happened to be go shoot a guy. Well,
post Reconstruction era U.S. history. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Just the setting.
So I've heard different things, and I haven't been not lazy enough to actually look them up myself. Because don't a lot of people say the whole Western genre never really existed, or at least it's super exaggerated or something
I mean, it's definitely exaggerated,
Yeah.
but there was a time where there were cowboys and there were bandits and whatnot, but it probably didn't look exactly the same as movies.
There were probably still a lawbreaker probably would still be hunted down. It wasn't there's no law here. If Sheriff still probably has to answer to the governor of someone.
Yeah.
There was still a hierarchy and stuff. It was just, but they were just so out there in the desert that sometimes they wouldn't get the response in time, so they would have to get the Rangers or something to.
Yeah. I think one thing that I always never understood is because when I was younger, I would always watch these Western things, and they would always do the duels or whatever, in the middle of the town. And it just seemed back then, and in Western genre, movies and games, people just killed each other over everything. It was oh, I want that sandwich. No, it's mine. Okay, we're dueling. We're dueling.
There's never a time where the people are can you guys fucking not do this here?
Yeah,
someone has to pick up the body, asshole.
Yeah, they never talk about that. Who has to clean
My
that
children
up?
are here.
It's in the middle of the town for children and women, and just the citizens of the town are just completely wow, you just killed another guy, Mark. Thanks. Thanks, Mark.
What do you do this time? Spill your drink? Oh my god, I can't imagine.
There was do you remember that iPhone game, a really, really old iPhone game? I think it was called High Noon, and it was where you had your phone and you had to hold it, I guess it's kind of like that new Switch game or whatever.
New Switch game?
There's
when that
a
came
new
out.
Switch game. Well,
it came out when the console came out.
Okay, whatever. But yeah, and then it tells you to draw and you have to shoot, or no, you have to pull up your phone and then aim at them or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But that was cool. I've always loved the Western genre. What are some other I guess Western movies? Or
Westworld.
Okay,
before we talk about the HBO series, my actual first impression of Westworld was the movie. And I'm so happy, the original '70s movie, which is just kind of just like Jurassic Park. I think the book was written by the same guy who wrote Jurassic Park, if I'm not mistaken, but I might be wrong on that. Which is kind of funny, because it's the same premise. the movie is at least, where it's this cool theme park of like these animatronics, and it's the Wild West, so you can like eat, drink, and fuck whatever you want, and it's all cool. Except I guess I forgot what happens, but like there's an error, and like all the robots freak out, and they start killing everyone, and the main character has to leave.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what the show's about, except it goes like super in depth. I know season 3 just happened, but that
I've never, still haven't seen Westworld.
Westworld is really good because it does, it's just so fascinating. It's like just like the movie, it's like here's a theme park where you can really do whatever you want because they're all robots and like they can't supposedly hurt you back. And it's like just this super like rich person amusement park. I think it costs like what was like $40,000 a day or something.
Is it really that much?
It was like in the.
I mean, I know it was expensive. I know it was expensive. I didn't know it was that expensive.
Yeah.
That's very like elite. That's like, yeah, only like the fucking 1% could do that.
I mean, because if you think about it, if someone kills one of those like cowboy robots, I mean that's a whole ordeal to repair them.
Yeah, that's
like
a good point.
constantly. So, if you just start inviting everybody there, that'd be hard.
I love that Westworld because it's just like a giant parody of like most Western movies. Like all the main like robot features there are just like your standard trope. There's the guy in black that's supposed to be like you mysterious, but it's actually a real person. It's all this other stuff that happens. Good show.
Yeah.
It also delves into Daniel, if you're interested in like psychology and like sentience and what constitutes as,
like AI
conscience.
that type of stuff.
I've heard like about that part of the show, which is why I was a bit confused when you were saying it was written by the same guy who wrote Jurassic Park.
Well, because the book was the book of Westworld, which the book of Westworld was just like the movie, which was just like oh no, they come out and kill people. The show actually does like deep stuff, like that's
Okay.
the movie doesn't have that. It's just like a.
It's just like, oh no, robots are killing people.
Yeah, mostly, but it still has the whole like corporate people are asshole, and that's the reason why.
Yeah.
But it's less of like the AI like becoming sentient, like because what the Westworld show is like pretty. The one bad thing about Westworld though is they try to do this quirky thing where like they keep trying to mess with the timeline and they show you things out of order and they show you things from different characters that you think are different. Like it really tries to screw with you. And season 1's okay with that. Like
it's
it kind
good.
of is okay. It's good. And then season 2 they're like, oh, people like that. We're gonna like turn it up to 15. And literally like there's this guy, I think his YouTuber name like Alt Shift X or something. I don't know. And he normally like overanalyzes Game of Thrones episodes, and so he started doing it with Westworld. And even him, someone that like makes like 2-hour videos on each episode, he's like, season 2 is too like crazy to understand and like pointlessly, because like it's like you have to watch YouTube analyses. Like I remember doing that. I did that with every like episode after season 2. We watched it because it was just confusing. But
Yeah.
it's a good Western.
How'd that guy react to the last season of Game of Thrones?
I never watched that. Did you?
I don't think I did. He did not like those last couple seasons. Though,
I remember
which is fair.
hearing Kayla watched it and she said it was complete garbage. Like,
Yeah, it is.
really bad.
Okay.
Really bad.
It's just like the first like couple seasons are literally like the best television that television has to offer. So to go from that to like, I don't know, man.
Right.
Those show writers are terrible. But
Back to Westerns.
yeah, back
to
back to Westerns and not our Game of Thrones.
Westerns.
Hey, there we
Game
go.
of Thrones is just one big Western.
If you really think about it.
So what's another Western?
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, I know we talked about that on our sci-fi episode, but it is also technically a Western, so I don't know what else to talk about it besides it's a good show. You should watch it. I know you
I
still
should.
haven't
I have
watched it.
nothing to input on most of these because I just haven't seen.
Okay, what's a
Have you played Red
Western?
Dead? You played Red Dead?
I have not played Red Dead.
Damn.
I haven't played Red Dead. Haven't watched Westworld. Haven't
Okay,
watched
what have
Cowboy
you seen?
Boop.
What's a Western thing? Off the top of your mind.
I mean, I watched a bunch of those old spaghetti westerns with my dad. It was like on the that old people channel that plays the black and white movies.
Oh, okay.
He'd always
yeah.
leave that on, and I just absorbed a lot of that kind of
Well, that's probably-
osmosis. I never had any idea
That's
what
the
was
most
going on.
purest Western than all of us. Like we're talking about like sci-fi Western.
Yeah, we're talking about things with, like just barely using the Western theme. Those are like direct. So
Yeah,
like,
no,
what
it's-
were some of your favorite or like stupid moment? I don't know. Like, tell us. Do you remember any of them?
I mean, I remember one where, like, it was kind of funny. almost felt like watching like 1900s or wait, when was the American Mexican War? Or
That's a Matthew question.
Yeah, Matthew.
I want to say.
Come on, hard fact time.
I want to say before the Civil War, right? So it must have been like 30 something, 40. God damn.
I don't know
Yeah, I
anything.
guess Texas. Well, anyways, watching it felt like watching like 1830s American propaganda because it was about how like evil the Mexican soldiers were. They went in and they kidnapped this guy and they forced him to build a fort, but he got together with the other cowboys and raised their spirits by giving a speech and like kicked him out. But I guess this was one of those more PG ones because they just did it without killing any. Wait, no, never mind. They killed people. Come to think of it. Anyways, it was really entertaining to watch because, like, it was just so clear that they wanted you to interpret, like, them as the bad guys and, the Americans as the good guys. They were just so evil that it kind of hindered their own goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this guy was like, oh, can I have some more water? I've been working all day. And he just, like, kicks him in the leg, and the guy can't even work, like, the rest of the movie.
I hate when movies do that.
Why would you do that? Your only motivation there was to be more of an asshole.
Yeah, because like when movies do stuff like that, it's either like one of two things normally. It's like just straight up propaganda for someone or like an agenda someone has, or it's just like they don't believe that their audience has even a shred of intelligence, and they're like,
That's most movies.
that is fair, and they're just like we have to shove it down your throat of But have you guys seen Django Unchained?
I have.
Because
That's a fun one.
That's a
That's
Western.
a really fun one.
Was that considered Western?
You might like about Tarantino.
I consider that Western. If that's not Western,
It is.
Like,
But what? Well, in a way, it's a Western
it's not
genre
a traditional
movie.
Western, definitely.
That's what I like about Tarantino is he likes to make like genre movies but slightly quirky. So it's a Western movie, but it's not set in the West. It's set in the South, like the deep colonial Southern.
Because that was like slavery was a big part of that movie.
Yeah, and that's a lot of Western movies technically take place after the Civil War because I don't know why, but because that's more where like the guns were and stuff, I guess. But this was taken before that, so like yeah.
Yeah, and it was pretty much just for those of you that haven't seen it. It was this guy named Django, and he was a slave, I'm pretty sure, and like didn't he like just break free or
No. The German guy. Well, my favorite character is the German friend. Like broke him out.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it's just like him getting revenge on a ton of stuff and getting back his lady and stuff
movie.
like that. That's definitely one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm trying to think what is another Western something. But I mean, speaking of Red Dead, I bought Red Dead 2, but I haven't played Red Dead 2. So I mean,
Red Dead 2 is really good.
It's really good.
If we're looking for more Western stuff, I'm not sure if you've played New Vegas, but Matthew, you would definitely be able to
That's a good point,
talk
actually.
about all the Western.
I would definitely consider New Vegas a Western because it's set in Nevada, and like the first 4 hours is basically a Western because that's my favorite part is if you follow the game how the game wants you to follow basically is you go to each of these towns looking for the guy that shot you, and each one has its own story. And you are that figure walking into the town, changing it, leaving it for the better.
Yeah, you're basically like the, wandering traveler that shows up in so many Western movies. He goes into one town, does his thing, and then packs up, heads to the next.
Yeah.
Can you gamble? Is there any like gambling in that game?
Gambling in that game.
Like, what is it?
There's blackjack, slots, and I think craps. One of my favorite strategies in that game, there's a luck stat for your character in a game that has gambling. So I would max out luck. I would there's this item in the game that makes you invisible. And the reason you can't go immediately to the area with casinos is that there's a bunch of things called death claws in between you and the casinos. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it up to your and audience interpretation as to why you wouldn't want to run into something called a death claw. So you go invisible, you sneak past them by save scumming a ton because they can still totally detect you. Eventually you make it through, and you just gamble over and over again. And because you have maxed out luck, you win every time. It's great.
This isn't really talking about the Western part of Fallout, but last time we talked about Fallout, I forgot to say this. So Matthew is a huge Fallout guy, just forever, and so he was. Yes, I am.
You got me into Fallout,
and he was trying to show. So at one point he came over and he was watching me play Fallout New Vegas, and it was New Vegas, right?
No, it was three. It was three.
Okay, Fallout 3, and he was like watching me play it. And kind of like giving me pointers and stuff. And so we get to a certain point, he's like, okay, so we're going to do this strategy where we're going to like have you like sneak past these death claws and like get these snow globes and like min-max your character.
No, it was the special bobbleheads in the third game. I wanted him to do the thing where you get 9 and int, but you immediately go get the intelligence one and max it to 10.
So yeah.
Which requires you to literally just like sneak past like the whole map. Which is like the worst way to play the game in the first gameplay. You're not supposed to do that. I don't know why I made him do that. It's not fun.
So I like that story. Even though it's not Western.
And then he put on a cowboy hat and shot a bandit.
Yes, there we go. Connected.
Still on top.
I like how half the time we're talking, we just start branching into other topics, and then we're like, shit, we gotta go back on topic. Like mention one thing.
Well, a lot of problem is we don't like Westerns. Apparently, Daniel actually watched a lot of those. I never watched those.
The thing is, I watched a ton of them. I couldn't tell you a single friggin' detail.
Well, that's the problem with the Western genre.
It was just like
that's why it died.
I just absorbed it through like media osmosis, but
like. They made so many fucking many of them that like they all just like blend together at some point.
Yeah, because like I think like Western, because I guess like there's two different types of way you could have a Western theme, which is like what Westworld does and what Django Unchained does. But then I guess there's also like technically just the like Western movies that are all just like either like aren't there all those like a huge category of them where it's like, oh, we're gonna just kill all the Indians. The Indians are the bad guys.
Oh yeah,
the Cowboys protect us from
that was a bad part
Indians.
Of it too. Is they tried to make it more morally ambiguous than it really needed to be.
It did the same thing like with the Mexican army
soldiers.
Yeah, they're just
like yeah, they're the bad guys.
It just proceeds to show you 30 minutes of like these Native Americans scalping people and stuff like that to really just drive home. You better think these people are the bad guys. So then when this good old cowboy rolls in town, he can save everybody. Like I think trying to think. Go ahead.
Alright, one Western movie I actually can talk about. It was the most 80s thing ever. It was like an 80s Western movie. Written, directed, and starred by Clint Eastwood.
Oh.
Yeah. It was pretty great. It was about these like evil prospectors who are using like water blasting to get some shit out of the mountain. I don't remember that part.
Like fracking it or something?
Yeah, it was basically like 1800s fracking. It's kind of funny. Yeah. The only reason I remember that movie is because it was like really, really jarring because like the Westerns are very they're kind of old. There aren't really many 80s Westerns, are there? Like, think about 80s movies in your head. Mm-hmm. Do you, like, associate a lot of Westerns?
That's when people got sick of those.
Yeah, it was, like, the one Western at the time, and I remember thinking, like, this is really weird, because it had all those 80s, like, drama cues. You know how it used synth a lot?
Oh, like in the background?
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Oh my god, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
fucking.
That's all I had to
Speaking
say.
of decades that usually didn't feature those movies, do you ever watch Wild Wild West?
I have not.
I've seen
either.
15 minutes of it.
Isn't that the most early 2000s movie ever?
I thought it was the 90s. I could have sworn it could be either way.
So, whoa.
It's
first 15-minute synopsis.
It's a 90s Will Smith Western movie.
Oh, well, okay.
But he's like one of the two main characters, and they go and stop a bad guy that's like an ex-Confederate. But it's like he makes his own original music video of his own rap about at the time, and he chose this over becoming Neo in a Matrix.
Wait,
and now which movie of these movies do you know more about, Holden?
I did not know that. So Will Smith turned down a main role in the Matrix to make a Western movie that he produced a music video for.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Like,
a rap music video.
I need to show you guys that maybe after this. But.
Oh my gosh, that is hilarious. Yeah, because rap, I don't really see rap going very well with Western.
Apparently you didn't watch Django.
The end has him, the fucking ex-Confederate guy. I think he's ex-Confederate. He might not be. I think he wants to reassemble the Confederacy, maybe. But he gets like a giant steampunk mech spider to attack a town, and they have to fly in on a glider to stop him. It's the most. I love those movies. I love like The Mummy, and it's an adventure movie. But yeah, I don't think it's like I haven't seen it.
I think like because there's a lot of movies that combine genres and stuff like that, and you kind of just talking about the steampunk thing just made me think about one of my favorite like crossover genres with like steampunk is like Western. Because, like, having, like, I can't think of any example, literally at all, but just the thought of, like, a Western, but they have all these steampunk, like, gadgets and, like, steampunk trains and stuff, like...
Isn't that normal trains?
Well, I guess that's true. But
all these normal trains powered by steam engines, imagine something as ridiculous as that.
Back then, they had Tesla trains, I'll have you know. They were powered by Tesla back then. Oh wait, I just realized that the Tesla coil, like.
Really?
I guess that's what Elon.
You just
Elon
made that
Musk
a connection now.
I don't know how. I guess that's pretty. Wow. You learn something new every day.
You do. Anime loving billionaire or millionaire, I don't fucking know. Named his company after that guy. I'm not sure if he made Tesla. I don't know anything about anything.
Well, fun fact about Elon Musk. I just saw apparently his newest baby's name is like it's
How do you pronounce it?
XAE like dash like.
I've seen that.
It's like an alien.
You know how to
I
pronounce
do
that?
not. If it has some stupid pronunciation, like if it's just like if it looks like that, but then it just says like Margaret, like that should be illegal. Honestly, that kid is going to get bullied into the ground.
I don't think it's pronounced Margaret. I think it's just like a random like couple like verbs. But if it was just Margaret, that'd be fucking hilarious. Like it's Margaret, and then every time someone writes it down, he's like, no, it's the A, and then whatever the fuck. That thing has a name. The fucking thing that I've only seen
The dash or the
Anglo-Saxon people
the
named.
AE?
Yeah, the AE.
Yeah.
I've only ever seen that used in Anglo-Saxon culture.
I don't know.
Anglo-Saxon, which is the culture which would later make the people who went to the Americas, who would later settle the Midwest, who would later become the Cowboys.
Brought it back to Westerns. We
Yes.
saved the podcast.
Yes. And most of them are racist and they consider themselves wasps. Which the A in wasps. Wait, white
You
You
Anglo-Saxon
completely
Protestant.
lost me.
I've been lost too.
I am just completely lost.
I was trying to talk about making a joke about Western racism.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm gonna South.
So what's do you guys have any other? Are there any more of those like old Western movies that you remember at all?
I mean, we can't do Western without mentioning John Wayne.
Oh yeah.
There, we've done it. Anyways.
He's Western man.
He's the Western boy.
The West.
Also Clint Eastwood, to be fair.
Clint Eastwood.
But he started making movies later on. Some of them are good, some of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But man, I always loved the like Western, like the whole like. I want to get good at doing those like lasso things, with, like.
Is that what you want to do?
Yeah,
like where you get like
I know
ride
exactly
the
what
horse
you're talking
and
about,
then, like,
and you can toss out a thing of rope and like catch something.
Yeah. Okay. Well, theoretically, Sandy from SpongeBob, sort of a cowboy or a cowgirl.
Is that what made you want to do it? As Andy did it all the time.
What?
I always liked it because of Red Dead, because you can just do it to anyone. That's something about Red Dead Online is fun. Is you can like somebody could go in being like however miles an hour a horse goes, and you can just like rope them and just like break their spine as they're like ripped off their horse.
Oh my god.
So imagine doing that in like a car going 60 miles an hour. You just toss a lasso out.
There needs to be a villain of a Western movie where there's like a time traveling villain and he's a cowboy but from the future.
He rides a motorcycle.
Yeah, he
wants to
rides
bring
a
the
motorcycle.
whole world to the west, back to the west.
Yes, and he has a lasso, but it's a like
What does this
mechanical
podcast
lasso.
turn into? I don't, collectively all of us know jack shit about westerns, so we're just making what we think a western movie would be like.
I mean that. Yeah. So I mean, we need to be hired. So I mean, like Quentin Tarantino.
With all our combined of westerns.
Yeah. If you want to make a new
We're
western.
very well versed in
Yeah.
the West. We live in Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. There we go. So.
We are the Western.
But yeah. So I guess wrapping up. Do any of you guys have any other western anythings you want to talk about before we wait till next week to talk about a topic that we know very little about?
I mean,
There was, what was the one that was like my dad showed me? I think I might have also had Clint Eastwood. It was actually pretty good as well. It was like a dad that used to be a gang member, but like his friend dies, and like it's a good movie. It's a good western because it's more of a family movie, but then in the later half it turns kind of violent a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like westerns gotta at least get a little bit violent because it's a western. But what were you gonna say?
Nothing important.
Nothing important. Got it. Okay. Well, thank you guys so much for watching episode 10 of this podcast or listening. And if you have anything that you thought we missed, if you watched the best Western movie that we didn't talk about, definitely let us know in the comments down below. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're on Spotify, don't really have a voice, I guess, or listening.
Give us the watch on YouTube.
Yes.
And like double
dip. Yes.
Yeah.
That's the ruse. That's the 10,000
You're not supposed to
IQ.
double dip.
Double dipping is okay when it brings us happiness. Everyone else not allowed.
So I can like double dip in a public sauce container.
What is a public sauce container?
So that's the
That was a lot of
podcast
fun.
for today.
Well, thank you guys for watching, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.